So now we are moving on to week 5. Yes, and I can tell you I'm pretty excited about this one.
Woo!
So we'll start with the easiest one, which is the 3rd one on here, the body prayer. So with that one, you take 3 deep breaths. Did you take your 3 breaths? In, out, in, out, in, out. Did I have lipstick on my teeth again?
Yeah.
It's really making me feel human. All right, and then we do
Reach towards the sky.
God, you are above.
God,
And then you touch
are
your
above.
toes. Below. It's pretty funny for us to touch our toes. We just go completely off the screen.
Yeah.
Inside.
Inside.
All around.
All around.
I worship you
I worship you
and give my life to you.
and
Touch your
give
toes.
my life to you.
And I love you
And I love you.
with all that I am.
That's all that I am.
And then we take 3 more deep breaths. In, out, in, out, in, out. Pretty nice, right? So there's another you don't have supplies for, but if you have any building blocks around your house or anything that you could stack, you build a prayer, and each brick or block represents a prayer request or praise.
You can use Lego or Jenga box.
You can even stack your juice boxes.
You can stack how much you want to pray.
Yeah, so that might be an exciting and fun way to pray, especially if you have some littles, to see how big your prayer tower can be.
Next prayer.
And now we come to the most delicious prayer in our kit.
The pretzel song.
So go back into your gift bag, your gift box, and pull out what's in there.
Let's open it up and see. We got some salt and some flavoring.
What is that?
This
Yeast.
yeast.
Yes.
Yeast.
Superior baking yeast.
And pretzel salt.
So admittedly, these 2 packets are not enough to make pretzels from.
Nope.
But I'm hoping that you already have warm water, sugar, salt, flour, maybe even egg at your house. I assumed that the special salt that goes on top of pretzels and yeast were probably the 2 things that would be the hardest to just open your cupboards and find. But what you'll see on this page is that making pretzels can be part of your Lenten journey.
Yay!
So let me read you the story, even though it's in your packet too. A young monk baked the first pretzel, making a Lenten bread of water, flour, and salt, forming the dough into the prayer position of the day, and baking it as a soft bread. These little breads were shaped in the form of arms crossed in prayer, and were called Brasileia, meaning little arms. Among the Germans, the word became Pretzel, and these then became pretzels, which were common for Lent throughout the Middle Ages in Europe.
They're also very yummy.
And they're also very yummy. And they became an all-year-round snack.
Yeah.
But they've kept the shape until the 19th century.
That's when they started to go straight.
Yeah, and then they came up with pretzel sticks, which is not the same thing. Don't be making pretzel sticks for Lent. You gotta be making.
No. But they're also super.
So if you want to stick around, Estelle and I are going to make pretzels.
Yay!
Right here, we'll see how this goes.
This is exciting.
So first we're gonna go get all of our ingredients. We'll be right
Okay.
back. All right, so Estelle and I have gotten all our stuff around. We are ready to do our pretzel prayer.
Woo!
Making some pretzels. You're pretty excited about this, aren't you?
I love pretzels. You have to know what
We have our packet of yeast. Our first thing to do is to mix the yeast. Yeast is always so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have
Water.
our 1.5 cups of warm water. Now, some of you who are experienced bakers are likely to watch us do this and cringe and think, oh, they should have done this first or they should have done that. And you're probably 100% right because we've never made pretzels before. This is new for me. So now we need the sugar and salt.
Can I pour it?
Yes, of course. So we already measured a tablespoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt in that little cup for her to pour in. Just stir that up. And now, here's going to be the hard part. Nope, no egg yet. The egg is like at the very end. It's our last thing to do. She's very excited about the egg though, so y'all hang on to your hatch. Okay.
Flour.
So not all at once. Put a little in. We're going to keep adding a little bit at a time to get it to stir in. It's a lot of liquid. Feels to me like the flour should have gone in first, but I am just following the directions, so learn from my mistakes. That'll do.
That's a little much.
So, once upon a time when I was in Austria, one of my girls on my floor, the dorm, was from Belgium, and she was going to make Belgian waffles for one of her classes. Okay, go ahead and add me some more flour in. And she was making huge batches, and I was stunned because all of these women that I was working with that were on my floor, they were other language assistants, they all seemed to know exactly what they were doing when they were baking, and they just went right to it, and I looked pretty clueless. So they eventually told me to quit trying to use a spoon, that you need to use your hands. And if you know me at all, you know I don't like sticky things, do I? So telling me to put my hands in the batter, I was like, oh, really? But I know that we're going to get to a point in this project where I'm going to have to use my hands also, and we'll see how that goes.
Like every time one time I went to Adventureland and I got slime, she didn't like it. She was like, ah! She hates sticky things. It's like hard to imagine what she would be like if she didn't hate sticky things.
Who would I even be? Oops. That's all right. We'll make it work, won't we?
We still have a little.
Some of you were like, they needed to do that. You're probably right.
Super floury.
This is one of those points where it's like, you probably need to put the spoon away, Emily, and put your hands in that sticky mess. And you know what I'm saying?
Nope.
That's why I keep kids around.
Spoon.
So what do you think, you bakers out there? This is how it's looking right now.
Don't make it fall.
I'm not gonna make it fall. Hopefully not.
One time I was making meatballs and I had to put my hands in, and like I had to crack an egg and then put my hands in after
All
that.
right, are your hands washed?
Yes.
Sorry, you were telling a story. Do you want to finish?
Sure. And I just put the egg in, and she's like, okay, now you have to do it. And there was like cold meat, cold eggs, and then it felt like I was sticking into an ice cube.
Yes, mixing up the meat and the egg and everything for meatloaf or meatballs is very cold. You can feel it go right up your arms sometimes. So I'm a little suspicious because the recipe does not give us an amount that it thinks that we should be making of pretzels. A more industrious chef would probably have looked up another pretzel recipe online to compare, but I am trying to do this just straight from the packet so that you can have a demonstration of what it looks like to do this straight from the packet. So this is what we have.
Man.
See, now I have some dough on my hands, or some flour on my hands, so it's not quite as messy as it was for Estelle. But I think I have to actually get in there a little more. to technically
this
be doing
reminds
what
me of the
I'm supposed to do
meatball
to
story.
eat it.
Because after that, it actually stuck to my hand. And I don't know what to do because it keeps sticking to my hands. Gee.
Alright, so at this point, I am going to go ahead and pull this out of the bowl.
Good.
We're only 10 minutes in right now, though. It's not the most time-consuming thing ever, but I don't know how long to knead. And
Remember that.
hey, Corinne. Yeah. Will you grab me the little cup of flour, like just the cup that's in the flour bin with some flour in it? Okay.
Please, my hands are clean. And I got
Okay, so I think then what we do is we take
a
a
little
chunk
bit.
of this.
Can I have some flour, please?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to use with the shots?
Put some flour on our hands. All right,
So
we're gonna-
floury. My hands are barely floured.
I'm gonna roll it.
So I'll take this much. It's kind of like playing with Play-Doh. That's kind of what it is. Yeah, that's what pretzels look like. Mine wasn't really that long. So mine's like a baby pencil.
Doesn't it go like this?
Maybe.
Mine's a big fat pretzel.
Mine ain't really fat. It's more like a wannabe fat pretzel.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not the best pencil maker in the world, so if I ever have a resume, that ain't gonna be it.
All right.
There we go.
Coming around here. Okay.
And
So
egg.
now,
Can I crack it?
to make our final step, Estelle has been waiting for this whole time, as you know. She's gonna crack the egg into the bowl for us.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
All right.
Where's my cup?
Set this up.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
And we are gonna beat the egg.
I wanna beat it.
Get some aggression out here too, right? You egg.
He's beaten. We win!
Okay, so now we're gonna take, in order to get a shiny finish, and to make the salt stick, we are gonna coat our pretzels with egg. So give me just a sec here.
I don't like salt on my pretzels for some reason. It's weird.
Okay, so you have a packet of pretzel salt, and that is what it is for, is to coat it. I'm gonna get a handful of pretzel salt.
Careful.
Okay, so I have a handful of pretzel salt, and this is how our pretzels are looking. Dangerous. Okay, so we have our little brush,
Dad,
and we are going
dip it.
to brush the pretzels with the egg.
It's like paint. Painting.
I like that nice glossy finish on our pretzels, so I'm gonna make sure they're nice and covered. And then while it's still wet,
Coat it.
sprinkle it with some delicious pretzel salt. Oh, it's good. It looks, I have to say, our pretzels don't necessarily look gorgeous, but that looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the rest of these. And then we're gonna throw them in the oven for 15 minutes at 425.
It looks like
and then
a
we'll show you
girl.
how it turns out. All right, so Estelle and I just pulled our pretzels from the oven. This is how they look. Here, I'll take one. Of course, I'm gonna try and take one of the more attractive ones
Yeah.
to show you how our pretzels turned out. It's quite hot. So even though I'm touching it, you probably wouldn't want to, straight from the oven. And now we're gonna sample it.
And I want to.
So our instructions tell us that as we enjoy our pretzels, we're to fold our arms over our chest and thank God for the everyday things that remind us of Him.
But how are we
So-
supposed to eat it like that?
You can't really eat it that way. I think you have to let your arms free so you can eat
Let's eat
it.
it.
But you know, whatever. Whatever works for you, right? Whatever reminds you of God. So we have one here that we are gonna break out open.
Whoop, that's
Ooh, you
steamy.
should see the steam coming off of this. And Estelle and I are just gonna give it a little sample. We'll let the others. Cool.
I would eat like 50 of these.
She's gonna eat 50 of these. I think it's pretty good. So that brings us to the end
Of our
of our
weeks.
Lent in a Box kit and our prayer practices. We hope that these things have all given you some adventures and practices and ways to grow closer to God over the season of
And
Lent.
good yumminess.
As you head into Holy Week, we hope that you have a blessed week, a blessed Palm Sunday, and of course a celebratory Easter, regardless of what the circumstances are around us. May we be able to rejoice in our hearts that our Savior lives.
Yeah!
So thank you for joining us.